Somewhere, between heaven and earth, there is a place where dreams are monitored. This is the domain of a legendary figure, eternal and immortal, who shares with man and beast all the secrets of the age. He is the Sandman.
Garrett Sanford was portrayed as the Sandman beginning in 1974. Originally published as a special for young readers, the story returned a year later as an ongoing series. The series told the story of the mythological Sandman who monitors dreams and polices nightmares. The series lasted for 6 issues, with the would-be 7th issue later published in the Best of DC #1. Issue 1 opens with Jed Paulson dreaming of a drowning man holding onto a monstrous doll. Insert a bedwetting joke here. Jed awakens and informs his grandfather there is a man drowning in the stormy sea. Following his grandson, Ezra Paulson rescues the drowning man who expires, uttering a warning to keep the doll from the wrong hands. The now dead stranger calls the doll a weblink. If you think that term is anachronistic, it will become downright prophetic later. In classic horror, Ezra becomes paranoid that the doll is mocking him. Meanwhile, Jed dreams of the doll pursuing his grandfather. This alarms the Sandman within his dream dome. He attempts to wake Jed from the nightmare. Behind Sandman are Brute and Glob, 2 living nightmares jailed for unknown reasons. The 2 nightmares are, strangely, Sandman's only company. They sort of function like Gene Wilder's character in the film Blazing Saddles. When Jed does not wake up, Sandman launches himself like a torpedo into the dream stream to rescue the boy. After Jed tells him of his newest nightmare about the weblink, Ezra is compelled by his burgeoning madness to wreck the doll. The scene implies Jed and Ezra each have different forms of psychic awareness that runs in the family. Our dark dream wanders over to surgeons who exposit our villain, General Electric. We get General Electric's backstory as a scientific novelty whose head was destroyed during a kamikaze mission. It is afterward we at last behold General Electric, whose brain has been replaced with a computerized copy. He has been obsessively tinkering with a weblink and refuses to have it taken from him. In an unintentionally laugh-out-loud moment, General Electric throws himself out the window with the surgeons yelling that his head is priceless. There is definitely a joke in that statement. Back in Jed and Ezra's subplot, the family dog digs up the weblink. Meanwhile, Jed has another dream about digging up the weblink, causing Sandman's alarms to blare. Brute begs Sandman to utilize his whistle to release him and Glob so they can help. Sandman refuses, citing the whistle is only for emergencies. He launches himself into the waking world. There, he finds Jed is being taken by anachronistic Nazi thugs who knock him out cold, which, I guess, is the anti-sleep. Sandman and Jed are taken to a Frankenstein-style laboratory wherein the other weblink is strapped to a table. General Electric explains his intended plot is to get revenge for the Axis defeat in World War II. Turns out the weblinks, when connected, will spark electric charges in Washington. Apparently, the weblinks are, indeed, nodes on a web of networked connections. All of it in 1974. The Nazi leader then satisfies his curiosity of Sandman's whistle, unintentionally releasing Brute and Glob. Brute and Glob then ride the sound wave to Sandman's rescue. Once there, Brute lets loose nightmare worms that drive the goons mad. However, General Electric's computer brain disables him from seeing the worms. He leverages Jed's life in demanding the invisible beings in the room to identify themselves. Sandman instructs Glob to blow a far higher than usual pitch on the whistle. This pitch shatters General Electric's skull and somehow blows the doll shop sky high in true Michael Bayham style. Curiously, Brute can wait to go back to being jailed while Sandman tells Jed all this trauma will soon fade like any dream. Ah. Okay. Readers criticize The Sandman for its repetitive juvenile plots and lack of an origin story. With the exception of issue 3, the Sandman plots went like this. The stories would start with Jed having a psychic dream, followed by Jed encountering a MacGuffin scene in his dream. The Sandman would be alerted and then enter the story. Sandman would then encounter the villain, usually getting captured, and then the wake-up whistle would summon Brute and Glob for help. The issues would usually end with Sandman reunited with Jed. Since Sandman was a book published during the heyday of the Saturday cartoon, one can draw comparisons to the Saturday morning cartoon formula of repetitive plots, kid co-stars, and the lack of any origin story for the premise to make sense. One thing particular that makes no sense about the Sandman series is the imprisonment of Brute and Glob. In one story, Sandman gives them time off being jailed to visit their families for a picnic. Reading the series, I had so many questions. These questions would be answered in stories nearly 2 decades later. Meanwhile, Sandman's origin would be told in Wonder Woman number 300. In that issue, the titular heroine confronts a living nightmare and is rescued by Sandman. During a series of dreams that throw Wonder Woman into an existential crisis, Sandman reveals his origin. He was Dr. Garrett Sanford, a dream researcher at UCLA where he invented a method for reading dreams. One day, Sanford is taken by government agents to the bedside of the president. He is informed the president fell into a slumber with nothing and no one able to wake him. Sandman is informed that his dream reader has been integrated into a mysterious device that will enable him to enter dreams. The secret endeavor is dubbed Operation Sandman. Upon entering the dream stream, Sanford discovers the president is in the literal grip of a nightmare. With the nightmare defeated, the president returns to the waking world. We are told that entering the dream stream is a one-way trip. For some reason, the government sends the dream reader into the stream never knowing what good it would do. I guess they figured that doing so would keep Operation Sandman classified. In addition to his origin, the issue also reveals that Sandman uses his dream reader to monitor Wonder Woman's dreams in order to sexually stalk her. A typical 1980s trope. Sandman would return in the first annual of Justice League of America, wherein he was captured by Dr. Destiny. There is no mention of his predatory encounter with Wonder Woman. Later, he would cameo in Swamp Thing issue 63. But all good things end after 1985. In the book, Infiniti Incorporated, it is revealed Sanford went insane and committed suicide. Alone, Brute and Glob kidnapped Silver Scarab, the son of Hawkman, to become the new Sandman. They transplanted Silver Scarab's mind into Sanford's dead body. The body was then remolded to resemble Scarab's old one. This enabled Silver Scarab to possess Sanford's powers as well as the inability to live outside the dream stream for longer than 1 hour. In 1988, DC began publication of a new Sandman written by Neil Gaiman. Beginning with issue 11, Gaiman began including characters from the previous Sandman series. In Gaiman's tales, Sanford's time as Sandman was a sham crafted by Brute and Glob. In Gaiman's series, it is revealed Brute and Glob are malevolent nightmares who separated a small section of the dreaming for themselves. When there, they took over Jed's dreams to manipulate Sanford into being a new Sandman. This explained the bizarre jailer-prison relationship Sanford had with Brute and Glob. Do you remember the Sandman? Wouldn't he have been a great action figure with a Dream Dome playset? Like, subscribe, comment. I am Rima, the Jungle Girl. And join us next time for more DC Comics in the Bronze Age, where the action is